So thank you everyone for joining our webinar today. Okay, in the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to share with you my knowledge on the biotic families and how they affect our health. So this is my outline for the webinar today. First, I will talk about the learning objective and I will give you the introduction. Next, I will talk about the gut microbiome ecologies followed by the biotic families. Next, I will talk about the clinical study and also about the pre and probiotic in the diet. Finally, I am going to conclude my talk by giving a brief remark on the pre and probiotic. So this is the learning objective of our webinar today. After listening to this talk, you should be able to identify the beneficial effect of the gut microbiome, describe the potential benefit of consuming probiotic and prebiotics, and lastly, identify some common dietary sources of probiotic and prebiotic. Do you see the picture of our evolutions? The evolution of humans. And did you know that your body is home to about 100 trillion bacteria and other microbes, collectively known as your microbiomes? Microbiomes is a word given by the scientists to describe the community of bacteria that live together symbiotically with our bodies. Now, during the course of evolution, bacteria have developed an intimate relationship with humans, and they colonize various anatomical locations in our body, such as our nose, mouth, skin, and especially our gut. What happened is that the final result has been a mutual adaptation and functional integration that gives significant advantage to human and bacteria. And scientists call this relationship symbiosis. Now, we can show next in our picture is our gastrointestinal tract, or known simply as our digestive system. Our gastrointestinal tract starts with our oral cavity, followed by pharynx and esophagus. Next, we have our stomach, small intestine, and the last one is our large intestine. So this is our gastrointestinal tract or digestive system. The gastrointestinal tract, with its diverse and concentrated microbial population, is one of the key organs of our human body. It is, in fact, an ecosystem of highest complexity that mediates numerous interactions with the chemical and nutritional environment. Our skin surface area is about 2 meters square. But if you compare to our gastrointestinal system, the area is about 150 to 200 meters square, which is a bit large, very large compared to the skin surface area. So with this gastrointestinal system, the surface is about 150 to 200 meters square. And the purpose of having this large surface area of our gastrointestinal tract is to make available the necessary space for digestive interaction and for adhesion and colonization associated with the mucosal wall. Next, I'll talk about gut microbiome ecology. Gut microbiome ecology is the ecology of our large intestine, small intestine, and also our stomach. Now, our mouth is contained mostly of anaerobic bacteria. And then when it comes to our stomach contains few bacteria. This is because of its low pH. And this low pH, meaning that its acidic conditions, do not favor the growth of much more bacteria. Only certain bacteria, which are acid-resistant bacteria, that are able to present in this stomach. These include lactobacillus and streptococci. And then we have the proximal small intestine. This proximal small intestine contains both aerobes and facultative anaerobes. Now, then most bacteria are found in the ileum and large intestine are anaerobe. Okay, because of the condition in ileum and large intestine, which are devoid of oxygen. Okay, so most of the bacteria that are able to colonize or successfully colonize in this area are usually anaerobes. Anaerobe means they are not depend on oxygen. Okay, anaerobe, they can survive without oxygen. Okay, now in our ileum and large intestine, the anaerobe species are thought to outnumber aerobic species by at least 10-fold, meaning that there are more anaerobic species compared to aerobic species. This is, like I said just now, because of the condition of the large intestine, which are devoid of oxygen. Devoid means without oxygen. Okay. Now, this is just a general composition. Okay, the exact composition of the microflora or microbiome of every human, okay, is affected by a variety of factors such as the food that we eat, okay, the medication that we take, and among others. Now let us look at our stomach, small intestine, and colon. Now, as you can see, our stomach and duodenum, the number of bacteria is less at 10 power 1 to 10 power 2 CFU per ml of content. Okay, so in the stomach and duodenum, most of the bacteria that can be found here is lactobacillus and streptococci, as well as some certain species of yeast. Okay, the number increase when we reach the jejunum and ileum, where it is 10 power 4 to 10 power 6 CFU per ml. Okay, and then the number getting much bigger, 10 power 10 to 10 power 12 CFU per ml in the colons, okay, where the majority of the bacteria are Bacteroides, bifidobacteria, and streptococci, as well as eubacteria and a number of other bacteria. Okay, so as you can see, our gut microbiome is a complex community of trillions of bacteria. Okay, these microorganisms include both negative and gram-positive, gram-negative bacteria strain. Okay, there are over 1,000 species. Okay, now soon after birth, okay, this warm and nutrient-rich environment within the gastrointestinal tract is colonized by a wide variety of bacteria species. Okay, like I said just now, although the exact composition of intestinal bacteria are different among individuals, okay, the pattern within an individual tends to remain constant over time. Okay, it is only fluctuating with our age, the illness, okay, whether we take antibiotic or not, and to some extent our dietary habits. Now, how does this intestinal bacteria benefit our health? Okay, first you must understand. Okay, our gut microbiomes, okay, which is the intestinal bacteria that are residing in our gastrointestinal tract, okay, they ferment the undigested food. Okay, the undigested food that reach our small intestine or large intestine. And then they produce what we call it short-chain fatty acid. Okay, they produce what we call it short-chain fatty acid. Example of short-chain fatty acid are acetic acid, propionic acid, and butyric acid. Okay, these are the predominant type of short-chain fatty acid. Okay, and all the beneficial effects that we see are actually due to this short-chain fatty acid, as well as the growth of the gut microbiome or the growth of our intestinal bacteria in our colon. Okay. Now, how does this short-chain fatty acid is beneficial to our health? First of all, okay, the short-chain fatty acid, okay, such as propionic acid, butyric acid, and the acetic acid, will acidify the lumen of our colon. Okay, when this short-chain fatty acid acidify the lumen of our colon, okay, it causes the environment to become acidic. As you know, okay, acidic environment only favor the growth of certain beneficial lactobacillus and bifidobacteria and inhibit the growth of pathogenic bacteria who are sensitive to pH. Okay, and this acidic environment also enhances the production of mucin. Okay, mucin is our part of our defense system. Okay, and this increased mucin content provides a greater physical barriers and decrease the likelihood of pathogenic bacteria colonizing our large intestine. Number two, short-chain fatty acid can serve as signaling molecules. Okay, this short-chain fatty acid can interact with the receptors of our enteroendocrine cells and mediate the synthesis of hormone and peptides. Okay, and number three, okay, the short-chain fatty acid exhibit trophic effect. Okay? It exhibit trophic effect means stimulating effect. It stimulates the proliferation and the growth of our mucosa cells. Mucosa cell is the cells of our large intestine. And number four, okay, number four is this short-chain fatty acid can be used as an energy and substrate for our body cells. Okay? Now, acetic acid, propionic acid, and butyric acid can be absorbed by our body cells and can be used as energy. And it can also be used as substrate to build several metabolites that is essential to our health. For example, cholesterol and fatty acid. Okay. And lastly, okay, this short-chain fatty acid stimulates the immune system by enhancing the production of macrophages, okay, lymphocytes, antibodies, and also improving our antibody response. Okay, now, this is the 5 major benefits of short-chain fatty acid. Now, the bacteria themselves, okay, when they grow in our large intestine, they also provide direct benefit and augment some of the benefits attained from the short-chain fatty acid. There are generally four areas of the benefit that this bacteria bring to our health. Okay, first is to enhance the host immune defense system. Okay. These bacteria, they increase our production of immunoglobulin, okay, and also produce antimicrobial substances such as bacteriocin that can fend off pathogenic bacteria. Okay, number two, okay, this bacteria can displace, exclude, or antagonize pathogenic bacteria from colonizing. As you know, if the number of good bacteria, okay, the beneficial bacteria, outnumber the number of pathogenic bacteria, the chances of pathogenic bacteria, okay, to survive and colonize our large intestine become small. Okay, and also when these beneficial bacteria colonize our large intestine, they produce substances that can reduce, okay, the adhesion of the pathogen to our mucosa cells. Number three, the bacteria, the beneficial bacteria can scavenge, sequester, transform, or promote the excretion of harmful or carcinogenic substances such as nitrosamine, heterocyclic amines, and mutagenic compounds. In fact, some research has shown that certain bacteria such as Lactobacillus acidophilus may be able to inhibit the production of carcinogenic compound. And lastly, these bacteria enhance our fecal bulk and dilute fecal content. This is important because it minimizes the exposures of these harmful substances in our feces with our colonic mucosa cells. So these have a beneficial effect, especially protect us against the colon cancer. Now, next, we talk about the biotic families. Why we call it the biotic family? Because there are families of related compounds. Okay? Firstly, in the family is the probiotic. A probiotic is the live organism, a live microorganism that when administered in adequate amount will confer a health benefit on the host. Okay? So as you can see here, it is a live microorganism, okay? And when administered in adequate amount, okay? For example, 10 billion CFU, okay, will confer a health benefit on the host, which is the human. Example of lactobacillus, example of biotic family, probiotic are lactobacillus and bifidobacterium genera. Now, probiotics are usually lactic acid producing bacteria. Okay, they are lactic acid producing bacteria such as lactobacillus and bifidobacterium genera. Okay, and but as research has progressed, other microorganisms have also been developed as potential probiotic. These include Bacillus, Escherichia coli, and Saccharomyces. Okay, so these are the other type of what we call it new bacteria or newcomer to the biotic families. Now, not every bacteria can be considered probiotic. To be considered a probiotic, that particular strain of bacteria have to be beneficial when consumed, do not possess pathogenicities and toxicities, and can produce large number of viable cells when it reach our large intestine. Okay, it must also able to colonize or to survive and to metabolize in our gut. Okay, because to be effective, okay, the probiotic must survive the passage through the upper gastrointestinal tract. Our upper gastrointestinal tract is our stomach, which is acidic, okay, and also contain pancreatic enzyme. Okay, so this acidic and bile salt and pancreatic enzyme pose a challenge that some probiotic or some bacteria that may not be able to meet. Okay, that's why not every bacteria can be considered probiotic. And the last two is the probiotic or the bacteria must retain viability. Viability means the ability to reproduce during storage and use. And okay, because we eat the probiotic, okay, it must have a good sensory qualities if it is or if they are incorporated into a food. Now, the next in the family is prebiotic. Prebiotic, or what we call it, is generally known as the food for probiotic, the beneficial bacteria. Okay, or the official definition, according to Gibson et al., is the substrate that is selectively utilized by host microorganisms, conferring a health benefits. Now, prebiotic can be found in plants, plant materials such as bananas, chicory roots, garlic, onion, and other food. Okay, and because of this, many people thought that as soon as it is a dietary fiber, it can be considered prebiotic, which is not true. Okay, according to food chemistry, dietary fiber can be classified into insoluble, soluble, as well as fermentable. Okay, only those that are fermentable can be considered as prebiotic because we need it to be fermentable by our gut microbiome. Example of prebiotic are inulin and fructooligosaccharides. Okay, inulin and fructooligosaccharides are what we call, according to food chemistry, oligosaccharide, meaning that a short carbohydrate chain, okay, which is consists of 3 to 10 sugar molecules joined together. Now, the criteria, again, we have a criteria. Not every dietary fiber or every short chain or carbohydrate can be considered prebiotic. Okay? To be considered a prebiotic, okay, that particular material substances must be neither hydrolyzed nor absorbed in the upper part of the gastrointestinal tract. If it is hydrolyzed or absorbed in the upper part of the gastrointestinal tract, it won't be available to the bacteria in the colon. Okay, now it must be a selective substrate for one or a limited number of beneficial bacteria commensal to the colon, which are stimulated to grow in or are metabolically activated, meaning to say that the prebiotic must be a substrate that can support the growth of beneficial bacteria in our colon. And number three, it must be able to alter the colonic flora in favor of a healthier composition. And lastly, it must induce luminal or systemic effects that are beneficial to the host health. Okay? Now, just because it is fermented by the bacteria, it doesn't mean that it must be a prebiotic. Okay? To be called a prebiotic, it must have some healthy effect. It must have some beneficial effect. Okay? In our luminal, okay, the lumen of the colon, or the systemic effect, which can be beneficial to the host. Okay. Now, third in the family is symbiotic. This is what we usually can see in the market. A symbiotic is a mixture of live microorganism and substrate, which is the prebiotic, selectively utilized by host microorganisms that confer a health benefit on the host. So, to put it simply, okay, prebiotic plus probiotic is what we call it. What we get symbiotic. It's a mixture of live microorganism and substrate. Okay, live organism is the probiotic and substrate is the prebiotic. Now, again, there are also newcomer, okay, to these biotic families. The newcomer is postbiotic. Postbiotic is non-viable bacterial product or metabolic product from this microorganism that have biologic activity in the host. Okay, so they are postbiotic, meaning that they are non-viable. Okay, non-viable bacterial product, meaning that substance produced by bacteria or metabolic product produced by the bacteria. And also we have paraprobiotic. Paraprobiotic is non-viable microbial cells, meaning that cells that have been inactivated, okay, or crude cell extract that when we administer either orally or topically in adequate amount can confer a benefit to human or animal consumer. Okay, so as you know, the science of probiotic and prebiotic is expanding, okay, every day. Okay? Terms that you are going to hear maybe probably tomorrow is like psychobiotic. Okay, psychobiotic is biotic families, substances that can be beneficial to our mental health. Next, we're going to talk about the clinical study that have been conducted so far using probiotic and prebiotic. As you know, probiotic and prebiotic are the subject of increasing basic and clinical research. Okay? Probably the most extensively investigated use of probiotic and prebiotic is in the use of diarrhea. Okay? Probiotic has been researched, have been researched, and it is found to be useful to treat diarrhea. The diarrhea that is due to rotavirus, okay, diarrhea due to the use of antibiotic, and also traveler diarrhea. Other than diarrhea, okay, probiotic can be also beneficial in treating irritable bowel syndromes, okay, people who are usually producing a lot of gas when they get anxious, or inflammatory bowel disease such as Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, and also some allergy symptoms, for example, atopic eczema. Okay, and also, okay, probiotic has been found to be increase the availability and digestibility of certain nutrients. Okay, it improves our immune response. Okay, it can be used to treat lactose intolerance and certain form of cancer. Okay, but okay, there are one caveat here, one caution here. The caution begins, despite promising research results thus far, there are no clear conclusion about the appropriate probiotic doses or the duration of treatment for many of these conditions. We need to say that scientists have not agreed about the appropriate doses and the duration, okay, of using probiotic to treat many of the conditions that I mentioned just now. Okay, so it will take some time before the scientific or the medical science come up with a treatment plan using probiotic. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to talk about is pre and probiotic in our diet. Okay, now the most common delivery system for live microbe is dairy product. Okay, and such as milk, yogurt, and cheese. Okay, and remember, probiotics are provided mainly by fermented food. Okay, such as yogurt, cultured milk, but not all fermented food are considered probiotic because to be considered probiotic, okay, the fermented food must have beneficial bacteria, and the bacteria must be in a large number that they can survive our harsh gastrointestinal condition and be able to colonize our colon. However, research by food science and technology has been developing, okay, non-milk-based production technologies for probiotic cultures, okay, because all this while, probiotic and prebiotic can only be found in dairy product. So this is not a beneficial condition for people who are lactose intolerant or strict vegetarians. Okay? That is why research has been conducted to develop non-milk-based production for probiotic culture, meaning that they use probiotic culture, they develop, okay, food, okay, using non-dairy product to incorporate pre and probiotic. Now, several companies market probiotic supplement. Okay, this is very common, which you can find in capsules, tablet, and powder. But to be effective, probiotic usually to contain 1 to 10 billion colony forming unit per dose. Okay, we need 1 to 10 billion colony forming units per dose. Okay, and this dose must be given once or twice daily or for a few times per week. This is according to the latest research. Okay, latest research show that if we consider only a few thousand or few million, which is not enough. Okay, to be effective, again, we need 1 to 10 billion CFU or colony forming unit per dose. Okay. Now, another thing that you must remember is that because probiotic is live organism, the storage condition may affect their viability, their ability to reproduce. Certain conditions such as heat, moisture, and oxygen can reduce their survival times. Therefore, if you happen to buy probiotic or symbiotic product in the market, you should check the expiration date before purchasing a product. And lastly, if a safety concern, although the adverse effects are rare, one concern is the possibility that probiotic bacteria may cause infection in immunocompromised individuals. Because various species of probiotic bacteria, although they are good bacteria, they have been isolated from the infection site of severely ill individuals who were consuming the probiotic. So these are immunocompromised individuals are people who their immune system is compromised, such as people that have undergone organ transplant, people who have survived, who are having cancers. So for this group of people, probiotic may not be suitable to them. And then other concern is that because the intestinal bacteria, this probiotic, degrade the prebiotic product, and they produce gas as a byproduct. So if you go too much on this probiotic and prebiotic, you might experience more flatulence than usual. Flatulence means you're bloating, your stomach is full of gas. And lastly, another safety concern is the lack of industrial standard for probiotic in the food and supplement. Currently, it's hard, like I said just now, it's hard to tell how much of the microorganism is required and what type of probiotic organism in the food that give us a beneficial effect. So for those consumers who wish to try probiotic and prebiotic, it will be a bit difficult for them to determine how much of a product to consume in order to achieve the desired effect. So if you want to know better, consult your pharmacist or your doctor before you try to consume probiotic and prebiotic product. Now we have come to the end of my webinar. So these are 3 concluding remarks, and it's also a take-home message for you. Number 1 is the microbes that inhibit our gastrointestinal tract have a critical role in maintaining the integrity of intestinal tissues and influence our health in various other ways. These are what we call it the gut microbiome. They play important roles of our welfare. And preliminary research suggests that altering our gut microbiome by consuming probiotic and prebiotic may help to improve our defense against certain diseases such as diarrhea, IBD. And then additional research is needed. However, additional studies are needed to verify the beneficial effect of probiotic and prebiotic, and to develop standard protocol that can be used for treating illnesses. With that, we have come to the end of my talk, and I'll pass the mic to Ms. Noyati.
Thank you very much, Mr. Koh, for giving your valuable insight on prebiotic and probiotic. Do you have any question to Mr. Koh? You can unmute your microphone or you can type in the chat box.
Can listen that. I want to ask about the paraprobiotics. I still don't understand that part.
Which part? Can you
The
repeat your question?
the paraprobiotics and the postbiotics. That part I'm not sure understand. Is there any examples of these two biotics?
Is it this one, paraprobiotic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Paraprobiotic is hello. Now, paraprobiotic is probiotic that have been inactivated, meaning that have been killed off, or something something that we extract from the cells. Okay, when we put this one, okay, so when this probiotic that have been inactivated, or something that we extract from the cell from the microorganism, it have the function, it have a beneficial effect on our human or animal consumers. Okay, meaning that not only on beneficial to the human, but also beneficial to the animals. Okay, para means almost. Okay, meaning that they are non-viable. Non-viable meaning they are not living anymore. Is that answer your questions?
It is non-viable, not living anymore, but it still can help give beneficial on the human and animal, huh?
Yes, correct.
How about postbiotics? What is the difference between them?
Postbiotic is substances produced by the bacteria. A substance, not the bacteria, but anything that produced by the bacteria.
But it also can.
Yes, but it also can be beneficial to us.
Oh.
Hmm.
So if the biotics is extracted by the like example the seaweed, that is called the probiotics, is it?
No, because that one is what I call prebiotic. That one is what we consider prebiotic, because when we extract, it actually come from a plant. Okay, so it doesn't come from bacteria. So it is not a postbiotic, or it is not a parabiotic. It is actually prebiotic.
So pre is for plant, para is for animal, and then
yes.
pro is for the bacteria. Post is for the bacteria.
Para and probiotic are actually for bacteria. Okay, pre is the substances, for example, oligosaccharide that come from plant.
Oh, okay, understand.
Okay, thank you.
I hope that answers your question. Do you have any question from the floor? Any question from the floor?
Hello, can you hear my voice?
Yes, sure. Mr. Hafsan.
Yes, Mr. Ko, actually I have a question, a simple question. Let's say I buy a yogurt with prebiotic, right? Let's say I use it as ingredient to make another dessert. Will the amount of prebiotic in the the product of the dessert that I produce significantly reduce? I mean the amount of prebiotic. Let's say I use the yogurt containing prebiotic to make the dessert. Will the amount of prebiotic significantly reduce? Or is it?
Do you mean the amount of probiotic inside the yogurt?
Yeah. I mean, let's say I use yogurt containing prebiotic.
Okay.
To make dessert.
Okay.
So will the amount of prebiotic will significantly reduce?
Pre or pro?
Do you understand the question? So just a simple question. I just want to know. So,
I think you mean the amount of probiotic, right?
then
you bought your situation is you bought a yogurt.
Yes.
From the market, and then you use the yogurt to make a dessert.
Yeah.
So your question is whether the probiotic inside the yogurt will decrease inside it when you make when you
When I mix with other ingredient to make a dessert lah. Let's say I want to make cake, right? By using the yogurt
or
with
you mix with the
prebiotic.
ingredient
The ingredient. Will the amount of prebiotic change or not? I just want to know lah.
Okay.
Hello, Afsan.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Provided that when you buy your yogurt, okay, your yogurt contain enough bacteria. If your yogurt contain enough of the probiotic, okay, and then when you put it into the dessert, they are still allowed to grow, to reproduce. Then I think that you let your dessert ferment for a certain amount of time, then I think that your dessert will still contain probiotic, but maybe the probiotic the number may be different depend on how long you let it ferment.
Or it depends on the other factors as well, right? Such as the oxygen, right? The
Yes,
oxygen
correct,
exposure,
correct.
right?
Yeah. It depends on the oxygen as well as the most important thing is that is there any substrates available for the probiotic to reproduce?
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ko.
Okay, thank you, Hafsan.
Thank you, Afsan, for the question. Is there any more questions from the floor? Is there any more
Mr.
questions?
Ko,
Okay.
is our body, ourselves have the probiotic, is it?
Okay. Yes, in fact, certain probiotics such as lactobacillus, casei shirota are actually isolated from human beings, but the human being must be healthy.
Okay, thank you.
Answer your question. Mr. Ko, I have a question myself. What is the example of food which contains symbiotic?
The most common food that contains symbiotic is actually yogurt.
Okay. Is kimchi considered symbiotic as well? Kimchi?
Yes, kimchi is a fermented food, okay? And so it's considered symbiotic. But the problem with most of the traditional fermented food is that the probiotic bacteria must have a large sufficient numbers. If the number is too low, it won't be able to survive passing through your stomach and your gastrointestinal tract.
Thank you, Mr. Ko, for the insight on prebiotic and probiotic. Is there any question from the floor? Okay, there's one question from Ms. Farah. Ms. Farah Shahira. Hello, Mr. Ko. May I know if there is any side effect if someone consumes prebiotic drinks every day regularly?
Okay, as we all probably know, prebiotics are actually a part of the dietary fiber. So if we suddenly consume a large amount of dietary fiber, you will suffer from flatulence. Flatulence means you have bloating gas. You produce a lot of gas because the bacteria in your stomach are digesting using the prebiotic that you consume regularly. But it depends. Okay, if you do it regularly, slowly, you introduce a prebiotic slowly into your regimen, you won't be suffering that side effect much.
I hope this answer your question, Ms. Farah. So from what Mr. Ko said just now, everything needs to be in moderation, right? So we cannot take something exceed the amount of what is required. So it is of course costed.
Yes, correct, Ms. Yati.
Any more question from the floor?
One last question. Sorry,
It's okay, it's okay.
Mr. Koh, I wonder, is there any food law or food regulation is about this pre and probiotics?
Yes, there is, okay, because but currently most of the this probiotic there is, okay, mainly the law is about how much, which type of food that you can supplement with probiotic and prebiotic, and as well as the type of prebiotic and probiotic that you can use in the particular food. For example, food for infant, okay, or certain type of culture milk.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think one more last question. If you have any more question, one more question before we wrap up this webinar. One last question. All right, if there's no question, Mr. Koh, is there anything else you would like to share before we wrap up this webinar?
It's just that my what I call it, my advice to those who have not tried probiotic and prebiotic. Okay, so perhaps you should get your advice from a doctor or pharmacist first. Okay, before you are buying any product that contains symbiotic, probiotic, prebiotic, and also consuming food that naturally fermented that contain probiotic or prebiotic. Because if we introduce this probiotic, prebiotic drastically into your dietary habit, it may cause you some of the side effects that I mentioned just now, such as flatulence. Okay, so it's better to be moderate, and be prudent. Okay, consult your doctor or pharmacist first before you try out any new product. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Koh. We have come to the end of our webinar. I would like to thank everyone who made this webinar possible, and thank you again to Mr. Koh for sharing your knowledge on prebiotic and probiotic. I hope this talk could raise awareness about prebiotic and probiotic research in general, particularly to UTS community. Thank you everyone for joining us today. It was a pleasure being with you. We hope to see you again in the next webinar. But before we leave this, before we end this meeting, I would like to get a screenshot of everyone here. So can you please switch on the camera so that I can screenshot. Okay. Okay, the rest of you, I think I will just proceed. Okay, all right. 1, 2, 3, smile. All right. So we hope to see you again in the next webinar session. Stay safe and take care. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Koh.